Should runners do CrossFit? Is it safe? Would it put you excessively in danger? Does it give you any benefits? What are those benefits? Today, we are going to investigate all of those questions. We're going to talk about what CrossFit is, what runners need from a strength, mobility, and movement standpoint, and what are the pros and cons for jumping into that CrossFit gym yourself. Let's do it. Oh, let's wipe the lens again. So clearly we had to step outside the gym. Who knew it could get a little loud in there when they get those classes going and those workouts going. So what is CrossFit? A good coaching friend of mine would explain the goal is to be a Olympic lifting, sprinting gymnast. And the idea that I'm trying to hit these different athletic areas that most athletes don't always cover all in one go. A lot of us are either one side of the fence or the other. But in a CrossFit workout, you might see barbell lifts like a back squat or a deadlift, a press or a push press, and you might have an opportunity to go heavy there and work on the skill. There could be more complicated movements that'd feature Olympic lifts. I could do a full clean, a combination of a deadlift all the way into a front squat to stand back up. Into more gymnastics movements where I might be getting upside down to do any type of handstand walking, handstand push-up, or I get myself on the rings doing a little swinging around, doing some muscle ups or whatever, or some kind of combination thereof. The classes are usually done in a group format where you have a coach leading a group of 5 to 15 to 25 athletes. And the idea is that every time you walk into the gym, the workout's going to be a little bit different. It could be different movements, it could be different movements mixed together. Some days might be a longer piece that would almost simulate a track workout where you're doing higher volume burpees and box jumps and kettlebell swings. Other days could be focusing more on the heavier stuff. Hey, you're only gonna focus on a 3 rep max or a 5 rep max back squat or deadlift or work in that direction. And the idea is if you constantly get this different exposure to these different movements, you build up this really strong athletic foundation. Now, truth be told, I am a CrossFit coach myself. I've been doing this for the last 8 or 9 years now out of San Francisco CrossFit in the city. So in this, I'm going to share my own personal journey into CrossFit, how and why I got into it, as well as the good and the bad and some tips for you to get started. Now, as runners, we've entered into this conundrum where we are asking a lot of our bodies when we go out and run, when we train for races, when we push ourselves. And we're asking our body to be really strong and stable, to have adequate range of motion so that we can run aligned and balanced and not only execute at the highest level, but not get injured in the process. On the flip side of that, we have also accepted strength, but we have accepted strength that usually plays it safe. The movements are really small and prescriptive. They're designed to not raise any potential risk level or risk any injury. And on the surface, this sounds like a really good idea, but the challenge is this, that by playing it safe, it does not keep me safe as an athlete and as a runner, because if my whole strength training is limited to leg press machine and hamstring curls and maybe a few exercises on a Swiss ball, that doesn't give me the adequate or requisite strength, stability, range of motion, coordination needed to be that runner who can execute on a higher level. So as runners, we need to expose ourselves to some risk in the gym to be better athletes so we can handle the risk we're already exposing ourselves out on the road. So let's get some of those cons to joining a CrossFit gym out of the way. First of all, you walk into this gym and there's a lot of people in there. The workout's written up on the board. It could cover a lot of heavy items. It could have a lot of volume. And if you don't have the requisite mechanics for that, it can be a recipe for exposing yourself and getting injured. And especially if they've got music pumping and there's a clock and people are writing their scores on the board, there's this level of competitiveness that can go against you as a newer athlete. And especially for you type A runners out there who like to go, this can be a difficult mix. The other hard part of this is that the programming in CrossFit doesn't always jive perfectly with your run goals outside, especially if you're a higher volume running athlete. The last thing you might want to do is do a really hard track workout on a Tuesday night and then get hammered with a 100 burpee workout on Wednesday morning. So the CrossFit gym's priorities in their programming is not always the priorities for what a strength program should be for runners, where maybe they should be doing more slower controlled movements, not being exposed to that rush when they're already doing that and they're running. And finally, back to that type A personality piece, if you're not going in with the right mentality of being patient, of being conservative, of asking a lot of questions, and you don't really tell anyone what's happening, you might walk out in a far worse condition than when you walked in. Now let's talk about some of the potential positives of CrossFit. We need that technical ability as athletes because we need to raise those higher standards for ourselves so that we can keep those high standards and stay healthy and strong in our running. The only way we're going to get exposure to that higher level of technical demand is if we get ourselves into an environment where we can practice. It's hard to teach yourself how to play golf from a book. So being in an environment where you're around a coach who can show you how to swing the club, so to speak, is a great way to learn. The same with any type of barbell lift, whether it's a deadlift or a back squat or those Olympic lifts or kettlebell swings or etc. So the benefit of that gym setting, CrossFit gym, is that you're going to get exposed to these things with, in theory, knowledgeable people who are going to show you how to do them. And then you are going to get those opportunities to practice on a regular basis and improve your skills. Speaking of that group, strength training on your own in the gym, you've got your earbuds in, everyone's competing for the same machines, especially if you watch this video as it comes out in January. That is, nice for some people, but I think sometimes that's hard to stick to. We like to run, and we like to run with other people sometimes because we're social animals. We want to share that. So in that CrossFit gym, you have that opportunity to build that community with your coach, with the other athletes that are there, and make this more of an enjoyable thing and not just something where you're taking your medicine. And finally, for you runners who are dealing with an injury, I've found the CrossFit to be a very actually great place to train through it. For example, let's say you're dealing with an Achilles issue and you can't do any higher intensity running. Great. We can get you in the gym pulling hard on a rower. We can get you swinging kettlebell. We can get you working things that challenge and develop those energy systems that need to be developed while simultaneously addressing maybe your foot and ankle instability issues and mobility issues to improve your Achilles. So there is that added bonus there. So if you are going to give CrossFit a go, here are some tips. Number one, do your research on the gym that you want to go to. Is it brand new? Has it been around for a little while? Does it have good reviews? Any friends of yours who've gone in there and done it before? Do they have any coaches that run or that have any type of endurance program? In San Francisco, I actually run the endurance program for our gym where I work with runners exclusively and run some CrossFit classes specifically for you guys. So sometimes that's an option depending on where you are. So number two is you go into the gym, prepare to come in with that beginner's mind and to be the newbie. That means you're gonna learn a whole new vocabulary, a whole bunch of terminology, and that also means that you're gonna need to earn your right to be competitive in that space again. And that means for the first 4 to 6 weeks, you haven't earned that right yet. That means don't look around as much at what other people are doing in the gym, how hard they're going, how heavier they're going. They may have been there longer than you, right? It's the equivalent of being able to do those 10 to 15 mile runs, no problem. If you're just starting off, we're gonna go with 2 to 3 miles. So go slower, 50 to 70% effort. Tell the coach that you're there, that you're new. Don't be afraid to ask for any clarifications or modifications or for help. If something feels off or weird, let someone know, and that will be an opportunity to make some sort of fix or some sort of change. And then finally, if you're doing these, preferably start this maybe with some distance away from those key races that you really care about, and try to put these workouts in on days that don't include hard or super long run on the same day. So If you like this video, let us know. Hit that like button down below. Drop any comments or questions. I know CrossFit can be a fiery topic, especially for us runners, and we would love to answer it and have that discussion. Subscribe to our channel too, guys. We got great videos coming out each and every week. We want you to be in the know. And if you want a 7-day free trial of strength workouts and mobility work and CrossFit-like stuff that you can do into your own running, join the training club. Click the link down below in the description. I'll see you guys in the next video.